soul with it. Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? The Island Ricks TV back with another video, and finally, the Los Angeles Lakers have hired a new head coach, Frank Vogel. Now, Vogel has had success in the past with the Indiana Pacers. Jason Kidd, who's also had success with the Milwaukee Bucks, happens to be his assistant coach, which I think will be a great move for Lonzo Ball. I think if Lonzo Ball is open-minded, Jason Kidd can help develop him into a very great player, even though I think the Lakers should trade everybody on the roster for Anthony Davis. However, the Pelicans weren't willing to deal Anthony Davis to the Lakers, and if nobody is willing to come to LA, then obviously we have no choice but to stick with the young guys. Now, I don't know if the Lakers plan on keeping Brandon Ingram, but Giannis became a very special player under Jason Kidd, and people thought I didn't like Ingram last year. But my biggest concern, or my biggest problem with Ingram, was his lack of three-point shooting and getting into the gym and becoming a better three-point shooter, also being more aggressive. Because as you've seen last year, Ingram and LeBron had issues playing alongside each other due to LeBron's style of play. I mentioned that earlier last year. You know, people were upset at what I said in the beginning of the season, but as the season progressed, they started to see what I was saying, and they understood what I was saying. LeBron James loves to drive the ball to the basket and kick the shooters, and as you seen last year when he kicked it to Brandon Ingram, he couldn't make shots. You have to be able to hit shots, knock shots down playing alongside LeBron, and I felt that was going to be a huge problem, which it was. Now Giannis is much bigger, has a bigger frame, and is able to get to the basket a lot easier than Brandon Ingram, and also, Giannis is surrounded by players like Chris Middleton and people who can shoot the ball, and he's able to get away with solely being able to drive the ball and not being able to hit shots. But Brandon Ingram isn't, because it's much difficult because he plays alongside LeBron James. So he's on a bigger stage. The spotlight is much bigger, so he's going to get a lot more criticism, and his margin for error is very small. You know, however, my thoughts on Frank Vogel as the Lakers head coach, honestly, I don't think it's a bad hire. Of course, ESPN is upset because obviously they're marketing asset LeBron James, so they want LeBron James to get whatever he want, and as long as it came to, you know, coaches like Monty Williams or Ty Lue, it was fine with them being the coach. But anybody else that LeBron James didn't approve, that was a problem. But I'm happy the Lakers didn't, you know, bow to LeBron and didn't let LeBron get his way and let him be the GM. I think working as a team, it allows you to become stronger together than apart, and somebody has to let these guys know and let LeBron James know, like, you can't choose sides. You know, Jason Kidd has to be the man who keeps everything in place and keeps that balance to be able to go to LeBron James, and he has to let that ego go. I don't think LeBron James' ego will allow him to listen to Frank Vogel and will do whatever he can to make Jason Kidd the head coach. But Jason Kidd has to be able to put that ego to the side and let Frank Vogel do his job. He has to 100% back Frank Vogel in order for this team to be successful, because this is going to benefit this is going to benefit the young players more than it's going to benefit LeBron James, and I'll tell you why. But you know, he has to go to LeBron James to sit him down and just let him know, like, you're getting older now, and just have to tell him the truth. Like, you got to respect the authority in order for this team to grow and get better. And as I told you guys, LeBron James doesn't have that control that he thought he would have joining the Lakers, and that's why I said that 4-year contract in the beginning that was presented to him, it was all strategic. I think that Magic Johnson was being used as a pawn. This is just my opinion. I think that Magic Johnson was used as a pawn in the face and given the job as head of basketball operations to Lord LeBron James in to want to come to the Lakers. And I told you guys who I think is really pulling the strings behind the scenes for the Lakers and putting all the pieces in place for the Lakers through Rob Pelinka for an NBA comeback. And another sign for me was the Lakers rehiring Kobe's former head physical therapist. But that's just my opinion. Anyway, moving on. Now, which player on the Lakers I think could thrive the most under both Frank Vogel and Jason Kidd? That player happens to be Brandon Ingram. Now, I know a lot of you guys most likely would think it would be Lonzo Ball. I think Lonzo Ball will be successful under the tutelage of Jason Kidd, but I think Brandon Ingram, this will be his coming out party. I think that he could become an all-star under Frank Vogel. I think Brandon Ingram, his mid-range game and his ability to create off the dribble was absolutely outstanding last season. Brandon Ingram get better and progress last season. I think if Ingram was able to fully develop last year without the pressure of playing alongside LeBron James, he wouldn't have got as much criticism from the media. But I think we could see him become a very special player in the NBA. And the reason I think Brandon Brandon Ingram could possibly have the most success out of all the young players on the roster is simply because of Frank Vogel and the player that Paul George was able to become under Vogel. In 2013, Paul George won Most Improved Player. He became an All-Star. In 2013, he made All Defensive Second Team and Third Team. That following year, which is the same year the Indiana Pacers were able to advance to the Eastern Conference Finals and, face off against LeBron James and that super team. That following year, Paul George made the All-Star team again. He also made Defensive First Team. He became a better three-point shooter and just became a better player overall under Frank Vogel. And this is just an example of new heights that Brandon Ingram can reach if he allows Frank Vogel and his staff to mold him and mentor him in the right direction. Also, having Jason Kidd plays a major key as well because of what he was able to do and how he was able to develop Giannis Antetokounmpo as well into a great NBA player. And now most likely Giannis is this league's MVP in 2019. Now I'm not saying that Brandon Ingram is going to be the next Paul George or the next Giannis, or not to say he's going to become an all-star this year, but I think so. I think he can. Now if Vogel is able to work with Ingram and Ingram acknowledges how great Paul George became under Vogel and pick his brain, I think Brandon Ingram can also become an all-star this year. Now in order for Ingram to work with LeBron James, I think he has to be ruthless. He has to be fearless and not care about taking more shots, because once you become more confident, you take more shots because you know you can make the shot. But when you look at players like Kyrie Irving, he's a player who has the three in his arsenal. He has great ball handling skills. He's able to play alongside LeBron James because LeBron knew Kyrie Irving could get his own. Kyrie Irving didn't care. He just took shots whether LeBron liked it or not, and he dealt with the consequences and the backlash that the media gave him. So if Ingram becomes more confident, take more shots, and prove that he's worked in the gym this year, I think Ingram can become a star. Last season, Brandon Ingram averaged 18 points per game, 5 rebounds, 3 assists per game, and only played 52 games last season due to his injury. Now, stats show that since Ingram has entered the league, he's shown growth and improved every season from his rookie season. Now, with Frank Vogel as the Lakers' new coach, you compare that to Paul George's stats. We've seen Paul George go from averaging 17 points per game and became an all-star. Then the next year, averaged 21 points per game. That following year, which was the year the Indiana Pacers advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals and took the Miami Heat to 6 games. In that series, Paul George averaged 24 points per game and had an incredible series. Now, I think if Ingram has put that overtime into the gym this season and focused on improving his three-point shot, we could see Ingram blossom into a great NBA player. If Frank Vogel and Kidd are able to put their egos aside and work together instead of, Jason Kidd angling to try to get Vogel fired to take his job and not let the media distract them from their goal. And if the Lakers could make some great pickups in free agency, I honestly think that the Lakers could make the playoffs next year. And honestly, I felt like this move is actually better than the media is saying, and it's going to benefit the young core more than it's going to benefit LeBron, and it's going to be great for the Lakers long term. And if everything goes well and according to plan, to me, I think this was an underrated move by Kurt Rambis and the Lakers front office. But that's just my take on it. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Y'all get in that comment box. Like, share, subscribe. I'm out.